Okay, you guys, seriously, you're not going to believe what Tom Bauer just dropped. I mean, we thought we knew the score with Harry and Meghan, right? We thought we understood the whole royal drama, the money moves, the Netflix deals. But Bauer, the absolute legend that he is, he's uncovered something that just blows everything out of the water. We're talking about a secret divorce clause buried deep in their prenup, page 14, clause 7. And here's the kicker. Harry signed it, apparently, without having a clue what it actually meant. I mean, come on, can you even imagine? This isn't some flimsy rumor from a gossip rag, you know? This is Tom Bauer. Let me break this down for you because it's crucial to understanding just how devastating this is. This isn't some TikTok pundit or a random blogger making stuff up in their basement. Tom Bauer is a former barrister, a BBC investigative journalist who spent 4 decades absolutely destroying the reputations of people who thought they were untouchable. We're talking Robert Maxwell, the corrupt media tycoon, taken down by Bauer. Mohammed Al-Fayed, his dodgy business practices, exposed. Simon Cowell, even. Bauer peeled back the layers on his empire, revealing things people just didn't know, like how Cowell apparently can't stand Jennifer Lopez, thinks she's too vain. He doesn't even like Elton John. For crying out loud, the man is relentless. When Tom Bauer writes something, publishers back it with their legal teams because his research is bulletproof. He doesn't rely on unnamed sources or internet speculation. He builds cases like a lawyer with documentation that can stand up in court. So when he says he's seen evidence of these prenup clauses, he's not guessing. He's spoken to legal professionals who were involved in drafting royal marriage contracts. He's examined how California law intersects with British royal protocol. His book, Revenge, involved over 80 interviews with people who worked directly with Meghan, palace staff, Hollywood colleagues, legal professionals who handled her contracts. This is the real deal, folks. And what he found on page 14? It makes so much sense now. It explains why Meghan suddenly rehired Sunshine Sachs in January 2026. Yeah, you heard that right. 2026. This isn't just about PR. Sunshine Sachs specializes in one specific type of crisis management, high-profile divorces. Remember Katie Holmes leaving Tom Cruise? That was them. It also explains why she's been quietly moving money since 2022. And it explains why Tom Bauer says Harry is about to lose absolutely everything. Think about it. Most prenups are pretty straightforward, right? List assets, shared property, maybe some spousal support. But royal prenups? Totally different. They've got to protect crown assets, restrict title usage after divorce, dictate public behavior. Charles and Diana's agreement had detailed provisions about her title. But Harry and Meghan's situation, it's got this massive curveball. California law. Community property rules here mean anything earned during the marriage belongs equally to both spouses. That's the Netflix deal, the Spotify contract, any money Harry inherited after their wedding date. According to Bauer's sources, this prenup clause addresses that exact conflict. But here's the truly insidious part. It doesn't just split their Netflix earnings 50/50. Bauer says it contains specific language about intellectual property rights. We're talking about who owns the stories they've been selling, the Sussex brand, their joint ventures, even the content of Harry's memoir, Spare. All of this falls under a clause that Bauer says heavily favors Meghan's position. Why? Because she's listed as the business manager for their joint ventures. She's the one who negotiated the deals. And under California law, combined with the specific language in their prenup, she has primary claim to those revenue streams they've created together. But hold on, it gets even crazier. Bauer says this clause wasn't even written in 2018 when they got married. It was added later through a prenuptial amendment. And Harry, bless his naive heart, he signed that amendment without reading it carefully, trusting his wife completely. Prenup amendments happen, sure, after kids, property, businesses. But this one? This was amended in 2020, right around the time of Megxit. They were leaving royal life, moving to California, signing massive entertainment deals. It made sense to update their financial agreements. But here's what makes this amendment so significant. Bauer spoke to lawyers who worked on Meghan's first divorce from Trevor Engelson. And what they said? She was meticulous, read every line, questioned every clause, had a team reviewing her settlement. And she learned something crucial from that first divorce. Protect your earning potential above everything else. She walked away clean from Trevor because she was careful about how their finances were structured. Now, look at what happened with Harry. This is a pattern, folks. A very, very calculated pattern. The Netflix deal, remember that? Announced in September 2020, Spotify deal right after, and get this, Arcuel, their foundation that also operates as a business entity, was established around the exact same time. Here's the kicker, folks. The prenup amendment was signed right in the middle of this business formation period. California law already gave Meghan claim to half of everything they earned together, right? But the amendment, according to Bauer sources, gave her something so much more valuable: control. She's listed as the primary on their business registrations. Her name comes first on Arcuel documents. And most importantly, she negotiated a clause that gives her majority ownership of their brand if they separate. I mean, come on. Bauer spoke to Meghan's former legal team from her first divorce and what they told him about her negotiating style. It reveals a pattern that's been hiding in plain sight since 2013. This isn't just happenstance. You know what I mean? Seriously, the reports are breaking right now. Radar Online is saying Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's marriage is under major strain, that she's sleeping apart from her husband, wondering if she'd be more popular solo. Insiders claiming she's cracking under pressure, looking up divorce lawyers. Harry confronted by his unhappy wife. When Meghan divorced Trevor Engelson, she made one thing crystal clear to her lawyers. She wanted an exit strategy that left her completely independent. No messy financial entanglements, no shared assets requiring ongoing contact, a clean break where she walked away with her career intact and her bank account protected. This is not new behavior for her. And then there's Sunshine Sacks. Bauer discovered Meghan hired them for the first time in 2017, right when she started dating Harry. These aren't just any PR people. They built their reputation managing crisis situations for celebrities going through divorces. Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise, that was them. High-profile splits are their specialty. In 2020, right after Megxit, Meghan and Harry fired Sunshine Sacks. The official reason? Budget cuts. But Bauer's sources inside the firm told him a different story. They were let go because Meghan wanted to control the narrative herself through Arcuel's in-house communications. Fast forward to January 2026, Meghan rehires Sunshine Sacks. Why now? Bauer says the answer is screamingly obvious to anyone who understands how divorce PR works. You bring in the specialists 3 to 6 months before you file. You let them start shaping the narrative, planting stories, building public sympathy. But Bauer says the real proof isn't just in the Sunshine Sacks rehiring, it's in what Meghan's been doing with money since 2022. She's launched American Riviera Orchard, her lifestyle brand, as a separate business entity, under her name only. She's filed trademarks that don't include Harry. She's been photographed alone at business meetings in Los Angeles. According to Tom Bauer, this follows the exact same pattern she used before divorcing Trevor. Create a separate professional identity. Establish independent income streams. Build a life that doesn't financially depend on your spouse. And when Bauer says the real proof isn't in the prenup itself, but in what Meghan's been doing with money since 2022, everything just clicks into place. The Netflix deal was worth $100 million, right? That's what every media outlet reported. But Bauer spoke to entertainment industry insiders who explained how these deals actually work. That $100 million wasn't a check handed over on day one. It was a potential maximum payout if Harry and Meghan delivered all the content specified in their contract. They didn't. The documentary series happened. Meghan's cooking show got made. But Pearl, the animated series, was canceled. The other projects outlined in their original deal never materialized. Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished. The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. According to Bauer sources, they received about $40 million total from Netflix before the deal was downgraded to a first-look arrangement. So where did that $40 million go? This is where Tom Bauer's timeline gets really interesting. In 2022, right when their project started failing, Meghan began filing trademark applications for American Riviera Orchard, her solo venture. She hired lawyers to establish business entities separate from Arcuel. The $38 million in debt that's been reported, according to Bauer, it's not just spending, it's strategic financial restructuring. The Montecito mansion is titled in a way that protects it under California homestead laws. Their investments have been moved into separate accounts. Bauer says he spoke to financial advisors who work with high net worth individuals preparing for divorce, and they confirmed that everything Meghan's done since 2022 follows a textbook asset protection strategy. The ARO trademark was filed in Meghan's name alone, not jointly with Harry. Her podcast deal with Lemonade Media lists her as sole proprietor. Even the children's book she published, The Bench, was a solo project with no financial connection to Harry. Bauer identified 2022 as the turning point because that's when Meghan shifted from joint ventures to solo projects. That's when she stopped appearing with Harry at events unless contractually required. And that's when, according to Tom Bauer, she started executing the exit strategy that clause in the prenup amendment had given her the legal foundation to pursue. His timeline prediction is specific and disturbing. He believes Meghan will file for divorce within 6 months of January 2026. Why that time frame? California requires 6 months of residency before you can file for divorce. Meghan has clearly established California as her permanent residence. She's met that requirement years ago. What triggers the prenup clauses? According to Tom Bauer, the moment divorce papers are filed, several things happen automatically. The title usage restrictions kick in, the asset division process begins, and most importantly, the intellectual property clause determines who owns their brand. Going forward, Harry stands to lose the Montecito house, which could be sold to divide assets. He loses majority control of Archewell. He potentially loses custody of the children since they're California residents, and Meghan is the primary caregiver. And according to the prenup amendment that Tom Bauer says Harry signed without fully understanding, he loses rights to monetize his own royal story beyond what's already been published. The custody situation is particularly complicated, Bauer says if Meghan can demonstrate she's been the primary parent while Harry's been traveling for court cases and other obligations, California family courts typically favor maintaining stability for the children. But the question everyone's asking is this: does Harry know? And Tom Bauer's answer to that question might be the most disturbing part of all. Bauer believes Harry suspects something is wrong, but doesn't fully grasp the legal trap he's in. The evidence? Look at Harry's behavior in that London courtroom. The arguing with the judge, the emotional breakdown, the desperate crying about how the media has made his wife's life miserable. I mean, come on, he broke down in big boy tears. He's talking about articles from 2001 to 2013 before he even met Meghan. What does she have to do with that trial? Well, as it turns out, it has everything to do with Prince Harry's motivation and his miserable existence right now. Because his wife is miserable, she's making his life miserable, and everybody's living in absolute misery, and Harry only has himself to blame. He's so emotional, guys. His poor wife, living in misery in her $16 million mansion with her 4.4 million Instagram followers, her Netflix deal, her show on Netflix, she's so miserable. Tom Bauer says that's not the behavior of a man confident in his marriage. That's someone who knows something's broken but doesn't understand why or how to fix it. Sources close to Harry told Tom Bauer he feels increasingly isolated. His legal team reportedly warned him about the financial exposure from his court cases, but Meghan pushed him to continue anyway. Why would she encourage lawsuits that could bankrupt them unless she knew those debts would become his problem alone once the divorce is filed? Tom Bauer's final assessment is chilling. Harry signed away his future on page 14, clause 7, and he's only just beginning to realize it. There you have it. Tom Bauer has revealed a prenup clause that could leave Harry with nothing while Meghan walks away with their entire brand, majority assets, and the children. The amendment he signed in 2020 wasn't protecting their marriage, it was preparing for its end. What do you think? Did Meghan plan this from the beginning, or is Tom Bauer connecting dots that don't exist? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to see what happens when this divorce actually gets filed, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Look, when you really connect these dots, you've got to wonder, seriously, was this the plan all along? I mean, Tom Bauer isn't just some guy making wild accusations. He's laid out a timeline, a pattern of behavior that, frankly, is chilling. When you see how meticulous Meghan was with her first divorce, how she protected her earning potential and created a clean break, and then you see her alleged actions leading up to Megxit and beyond, it's hard to ignore the implications. This isn't just about a marriage falling apart. It feels like a calculated strategic extraction. Think about it. She hires Sunshine Sachs right when she starts dating Harry in 2017. A firm known for handling high-profile celebrity divorces. Coincidence? Come on. Then they fire them in 2020 because she wants to control the narrative herself. And now, January 2026, they're back. You bring in the divorce specialist 3 to 6 months before you file. It's almost textbook. You can't tell me that's not a meticulously planned strategy, especially when you look at her history. Her first divorce taught her to protect her earning potential above all else, and she seemingly executed that lesson flawlessly with Harry. And Harry? Bless his heart, he's just a pawn in this, isn't he? He signed an amendment to his prenup, page 14, clause 7, without fully understanding it. He trusted her completely. That's devastating. He's out there fighting these ridiculous court cases, breaking down in tears, talking about how miserable his wife is. I mean, the man is clearly under immense emotional strain. But what if that strain is partly because he's starting to realize the legal trap he's walked into? His lawyers are reportedly warning him about financial exposure, but Meghan pushes him to continue. Seriously, if she knows those debts become his problem alone once the divorce is filed, that's just brutal. It's a level of cold calculation that's hard to wrap your head around. The man's about to lose absolutely everything. The Montecito house, potentially sold out from under him. Majority control of Archewell, gone. And the kids? That's the real gut punch, isn't it? California courts favoring the primary caregiver, especially when she's been so careful to establish herself as such while he's off doing these lawsuits. And then the intellectual property rights, his own story, his memoir, the very thing he's been trying to monetize, gone. It makes you wonder what he'll have left. His royal story, beyond what's already published, basically taken from him. This isn't just some gossip column fodder. This is a former barrister and investigative journalist laying out a case with evidence, interviews, legal analysis. He's not guessing. He's connecting dots that have been there all along, hiding in plain sight. Every move Meghan's made since 2022, American Riviera Orchard, trademarks in her name only, solo business meetings, the financial restructuring, it all screams exit strategy. It's textbook asset protection for a high net worth divorce. She's been building her independent empire, meticulously separating her finances from Harry's, just like she did with Trevor. So, when Tom Bauer says Harry signed away his future on page 14, clause 7, and he's only just beginning to realize it, you've got to believe him. This wasn't just a bad marriage ending, it was by all accounts a meticulously orchestrated plan for financial and professional independence. The amendment he signed in 2020 wasn't protecting their marriage, it was preparing for its end. And Harry, poor Harry, he's about to find out just how exposed he truly is. It's a tragedy, honestly,